Hey, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Rayge, and we are back today to discuss a very, very important topic coming to Marvel Strike Force, which is the potential increase here now going forward for the next gear tier level, but as well level cap increase, guys. So, I mean, what am I referring to? Well, there's a lot of little clues and signs in the game already, but really, this is why I've been tracking the economy, why I've been tracking gold income and all that, because at the end of the day, this is what it's been pointing down to, guys, especially given that the most recent Dark Dimension is getting completed now, and as well, the purple ISO8 ions is kind of setting up the stage for a couple of upgrades in the future. So the good news is that there's plenty of upgrades to come, and it's just whether or not they're going to continue the trend that we see in past years, obviously. So for a bit of context, every year, typically around that January-February range, there is a level cap increase with an additional gear tier requirement. Last year, I guess in this case, earlier this year, the level cap increase, I believe, came out in February, and then Gear Tier 19 came out with the release of Dark Dimension 7 shortly afterwards in March, right? So that's the relative timeline. So to be honest, it hasn't been that long. It's only been 6-7 months since that date, essentially, and now we're already seeing a lot of signs, right? The biggest telling sign has been the infusion of Crimson gear. So what am I referring to? Well, even if you're going through the motions day in, day out, every single week now, they've been adding a new orb for us to take advantage of in terms of the event festivities. So I think they have the one they have right now, which is it called? Is it called the Swamp Army ones? This is the one with ISO8. Every time they have an orb now, they're just constantly adding Crimson gear, right? Even if you look at this one here, I mean, it's just been random all the time, but I mean, there's opportunities. There's been opportunities to get Crimson gear for the past few weeks, and that's why you've seen a lot of folks getting through Mephisto Dark Dimension 7, because I think now, if you have finished, I think the most recent thing I saw was like 13 or 14,000, which is a fair bit of players finishing Dark Dimension 7, which in my eyes is actually still the true end game, because Odin Dark Dimension 8, it's a walk in the park, guys. This Dark Dimension 8 is title only. Like, honestly speaking, this is probably one of the easier Dark Dimensions, just because of the fact that you can actually use lower gear tier level characters in there. So in my eyes, this is kind of still the true indicator of the highly engaged players finishing the content, and as well a bigger impact on your roster. But obviously, having said that, I'm very close to Odin as well, and he's only been out for a month, so it goes to show you the difficulty differences, right? So the Crimson gear has been massive. I mean, there obviously hasn't been any kind of additional revisions to the store in terms of, like cheaper gold and so forth. We usually kind of see that before the next gear tier, but I mean, we can't deny it. Crimson gear has been abundant. I mean, you can buy it through the gold store. If you're going through, now they added previously before a lot of these Armor 19s, if you use all your Crimson gear raid orbs, and this is the reason why I haven't opened them, is because once you finish Dark Dimension 7, and with the exception of content that's coming out for, scaling the endgame players like Sword Satellite and Escape from Kiln, you can see I have over 1,000 Crimson gear orbs now, because I just don't need them, right? Once you finish Dark Dimension 7, I've stopped upgrading all the characters all the way to the max. Now, having said that, there is a reason for that too. I know, being a free-to-play player for the past 4 or 5 years, that this game is based on resource management, right? So for me, if I don't have to bring these characters to Gear Tier 19, there isn't a need for me to utilize that. Even things like, the Spotlight raid orbs have been rotating, but we've already been maxing out those characters too. So you feel like you're finally catching up to upgrading where you should be in terms of your roster. And then all of a sudden they release a bunch of content, obviously the newest teams in Orcus, Night Stalker. That's what I'm currently working on. But even right now, like, I actually have them at respectable levels. So it's gotten to a point where when a player can breathe in this game and they can catch up pretty well, and I'm right around the corner and unlocking Odin, well, that's usually the sign that's going to be a level cap increase, guys. And it's been very telling, right? The abundance of Crimson gear, the fact that they've been adding it to even things like something as simple as the candy store. I mean, they're not usually this generous, but even 25,000 candies for 5 uniques, like, it's really good. I would highly recommend using the candy store for this. As you guys can see, I've hoarded quite a bit because I've been trying to get Captain Britain, but to be honest, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day, because he's not going to be making an impact in the grand scheme. The grand scheme is that level caps increase is coming. The question here now ought to be if it's going to level 105 or level 110. I also want to point out, guys, Dark Dimension 9, right? That's the one that's been talked about for quite some time with Xavier. I just don't know if he's going to be Dark Dimension 9 or maybe Dark Dimension 10. Now that they kind of inserted this Dark Dimension 8, it shows us it's possible for them to create a smaller Dark Dimension game mode and segue to another Dark Dimension. So Xavier, Dark Dimension 10, for X for 10, it's possible, right? Like, I definitely think that's a strong possibility. But also, let's think about this for a sec, too. The release of Siege on Battle World, right? The increase here to the ISO8 crystals coming in. And remember, the only reason you actually need purple ISO8 right now is really for Odin's unlock. After that, it's basically bolstering your roster, your characters to the max. But I also suspect that there's going to be the release here of the level 4 and level 5. Remember, we only have up to level 3 right now, right? So we can't actually, is it visible? I'm not even sure if it's visible. Let's double check. I'm just going to take a look at a character that has not been fully upgraded yet. But if it's not visible yet, then maybe they still have to work on it. But I mean, yeah, so it isn't. It's only up to level 3 right now in the game, actually, as you can see here. But that's the thing. That's the next step. We know that the level 4, level 5 exists already because it's been data mined and it's in the game files. So this is coming around the works as well. So Siege on Battle World is meant to kind of cover that gap, create a consistent, reliable way to earn these ions, and that way you can boost your characters not just to level 3 for Odin Dark Dimension 8, but as well ultimately the level 4 and level 5. So that's coming out. Maybe the next Dark Dimension will require level 5 ions, right? The next mini Dark Dimension, I should say. But yeah, guys, the writing's on the wall. And if you have been tracking my gold videos I make once a month, our gold economy is so strong right now, guys. We are, north of 250 to 260 million per month for the last few months. Last month we broke a record because I think it was kind of fused in together with the war rewards plus the Shattered Dimension repeatable. But yeah, they have done a better and better job with the gold economy, training materials. I mean, even ever to show you guys here, like, do I have any characters that I haven't fully upgraded their T4s? And I could show you even my T4 supply, guys. I'm 20,000 plus right now. And also, by the way, for those of you that think I'm just skipping every team, Orcus and Night Stalker have been the two recent teams, and honestly, I've been given enough time to build these characters up to level 95. The next one, as you can see, is Nimrod, just because I just got him unlocked. Even with Night Stalker, respectively, I was testing out the 3-piece, didn't really work, so that's why I'm skipping and using my standard step. But yeah, Agatha, Blade, level 95. So no, I haven't really been skipping teams, guys. The only one I've kind of truly missed out on and haven't really invested anything is Mercs for Money. But even then, Logan, Deathpool, they are built up to respectable levels, and now I am working on the rest of them slowly but surely, given that I can only spend so much with the golden opportunity. I try, for managing my gold, I try to just stay under 6 million per day. So I'm gonna put the rest of it probably in Nimrod today, as well as Mercs for Money, just kind of spread it out a little bit. But yeah, gold's been great, guys. We've only been spending about 6 million gold per day, and we're still generating a balance. And honestly speaking, guys, that's kind of the strategy I would recommend you guys employing, because now that we are basically just coasting on the raids, our alliance for Orcus, difficulty 3, we're doing consistently right now 70-80% every single day. So I mean, as you can see right here, we already hit the 70% mark, but just depends on how many alliance members want to further push for nodes, right? And we've been pushing a lot of the alliance milestones, which has worked out really well too. Gold economy is great, crimson gear is abundant. So all of it points to the level of cap increase, in my honest opinion, guys. The next gear tier level, if it is going to be gear tier 20, that would mean that we should try to hoard as much as we can right now for the crimson gear, because usually how it works is that for every 2 levels it's tied back to the same gear. So it's still going to be crimson from 19 to 20, which suggests that right now we should be saving as much as we can and trying not to bring up every character to gear tier 19. Remember, it's still a very heavy resource in the game. Even for myself, the unique right now that I'm trying to build is going to be useful for later on characters I want to upgrade fully to the max. So there you guys have it. Just my 2 cents, honestly. My game plan right now is to be conservative as I've always had, to save up as much resources as I can, because we just don't really know what's in the pipeline. But once Siege on Battle World does get released, we can start kind of taking a look at some must-have upgrades. But in the meantime, saving gold, saving crimson gear, and saving power cores ultimately. If you guys check out my video from yesterday where I am skipping the Night Stalker team for the time being. So do hope this is helpful. Let me know what your guys' game plan is, where you guys are sitting in the game. And again, I think this is only going to be really applicable to the end game players engaged like myself, where we basically have everything unlocked now, and essentially it's building up our reserve and our supply in anticipation for the next upcoming big thing. So do hope you guys enjoy this. Thank you for your time as always, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.